The Iowa State Cyclones are coming to Austin for Game 4 of conference play. Why is Iowa State performing poorly on offense? How is their defensive scheme creating success? And most importantly, can Texas get the job done for the third week in a row? After the show, Inside Texas is your place to stay locked in with your favorite team. In-depth behind-the-scenes coverage, excellent pre- and post-game analysis, and constant updates on the latest recruits. It's all right there, dropping on the daily. Make sure to subscribe to InsideTexas.com today. Link in the description. Iowa State laid a beatdown on Texas last season, but this Texas team has improved. Will the Longhorns right last year's wrongs, or will Iowa State come out victorious once again? Without further ado, let's get into it. The Iowa State offense is putting up awful numbers. Iowa State is last in the Big 12 for EPA per play, last for offensive success rate, last for points per game, and last for yards per game. For a zoomed out perspective, Iowa State is the 96th overall offense out of 131 FBS teams. Last year, they were 33rd. So what's going on? Let's start with their new quarterback and redshirt sophomore Hunter Dekkers. Dekkers has an arm. There's a play or two a game where you go, wow, that's a nice throw. Problem is, it's few and far between. The Iowa State offense is obsessed, sometimes to a fault, with short passing. Quick slants, quick outs, stick routes. Due to this schematic choice, Dekkers leads the league in short passing attempts, with 67% of his throws coming under 9 yards. The overemphasis on the short passing game in turn artificially inflates completion percentage, and Dekkers is still only currently 5th in the league at 67%. Matt Campbell wants Dekkers to get the ball out quick with pre-snap reads. This is why Dekkers is 10th out of Big 12 quarterbacks in time to throw, averaging just 2.48 seconds. He's 10th in the league in yards per attempt and 12th out of 12 Big 12 quarterbacks in average depth of target at just 6.6 yards. These constant underneath throws are designed to keep the offense on schedule, always facing manageable yardage on second and third downs. But Dekkers isn't in command yet. He's inconsistent with his reads and his ball placement. He struggles to diagnose coverages, and he can get stuck on receivers regardless of them being covered. It's especially pronounced in the intermediate range of 10 to 19 yards, where he has to make layered throws between the second and third levels. He's ranked as the 9th QB at this range, with 4 of his 6 interceptions coming from this part of the field. Due to the repeated short throws, defenders tend to move down or fall asleep in coverage a couple times per game. This allows for one of their receivers to get by a DB, and Dekkers' arm ability can finally shine in those moments. He's the number 1 graded quarterback in the league on throws over 20 yards, completing an awesome 60% of his deep shots. The issue is that accounts for just 7% of his overall passing attempts, for dead last in the league. Pocket presence still needs work as well on the deep or intermediate stuff. He can hold the ball too long, and he doesn't feel the pressure well, displayed by the 4th highest pressure to sack rate in the conference at 22%. Dekkers can escape the pocket and pick up yards with DBs back in coverage or pull it at the goal line, but he's not a dynamic runner as of yet. Dekkers shows flashes that let you know the tools are there. He just needs more game reps to settle down and display that arm ability. And Dekkers isn't the only thing slowing down the Iowa State offense. The offensive line's pass blocking is suspect. Dekkers has been sacked 15 times, second most in the Big 12, and the Cyclones are second in the league for pressures allowed with 50. The overall unit's pass blocking efficiency ranks 8th out of 10 Big 12 teams. They only have one top 25 pass blocker and the 19th ranked Jared Hufford at left guard, with 3 of the 4 remaining starters ranked 41st or worse out of 56 total linemen. When they go to their heavy 12 personnel, there isn't a great pass blocker in the tight end room to help out either. The singular playmaker is the 2-time All-Big 12 receiver and Xavier Hutchinson. Hutchinson has been a crucial piece for the Iowa State offense going on 3 years now. He is utilized out wide about 70% of the time, but he can be moved inside depending on the situation. Hutchinson led the league in targets in 2020. He was second in 2021, and he currently leads the Big 12 in targets this season with 87. You can't overstate how much he means to this team, and he is force-fed over and over and over again. And he should be, because he's the 2nd highest graded receiver in the league, notching the most yards at 607 and the most touchdowns in the conference at 5. You'd immediately think, well, he must be a deep threat, but he's not really used that way. Since the offense focuses so little on deep passing, he only has 4 deep targets on the season, accounting for just 5% of his attempts. He's capable of being a downfield problem, catching 3 of those, and great at going for the 50-50 ball. He's just not asked to do it that often. 58% of his targets are at 9 yards or less. It's quick screens, quick slants, quick outs, and he's a staple on third downs. He's sure-handed, catching 80%, and he can keep the chains moving when Deckers is in rhythm. When he does venture downfield to the intermediate range, he's struggling this year, graded as the 26th of 29 receivers, catching just 12 of 33 targets. But his struggles there are more about the new quarterback, since he was the third graded receiver at the intermediate range just last season. He will always remain a threat regardless of the offensive dysfunction this year, and the DBs have to know where he is at all times. Their number 2 receiver is slot Jalen Knoll, currently ranked 23 out of 31 Big 12 receivers. Knoll is middle of the pack in yards this season, even though he's the 8th most targeted receiver. He's quick with that 5'10", 190-pound frame and used almost exclusively in the short game, with 87% of his targets coming below 9 yards or behind the line. With an 11 flat 100-meter time, the offense wants to get the ball in his hands quickly so he can pick up easy yards, with the 9th highest yards after catch per reception in the Big 12. Personally, I feel they are making a major mistake in not sending him downfield more often. Their final starter is field receiver Dimitri Stanley with 25 targets on the year, and he's not lighting it up either, ranked 30th out of 31 receivers, catching just 56% of his targets with only 1 touchdown on the year. Last year, you had to worry about Hutchinson and tight end Charlie Kolar at all times. This year, teams can just hone in on Hutchinson, and the other guys aren't able to consistently make plays. Charlie Kolar was a massive loss, having 95 targets last year for 760 yards and 6 touchdowns, but he went to the NFL. So far this year, there isn't a receiving tight end that's even close to his production, with their number 1 tight end having 8 targets all season. Charlie Kolar averaged 8 targets a game. And the run game is also reeling after losing a top running back in Breece Hall, who averaged 5.8 yards per carry for 1,400 yards and 20 touchdowns. Jairo Brock is the new starter. He's averaging 5 yards a carry for 20th out of 46 running backs. Brock has 2 touchdowns in 6 games, and he's fumbled twice. The rest of the running back room isn't performing any better currently. Deion Silas is getting some quality reps, but he's only averaging 3.9 yards per carry, though he is a home run threat due to that speed. The Iowa State offensive line ranks last in the Big 12 for average line yards. Overall, they are 92nd in the nation out of 131 teams. The line is last in the Big 12 for stuff rate as well, allowing running backs to be tackled behind the line more than any other team in the league. They have no run blockers in the top 10 and only 2 in the top 25, with center Trevor Downing ranked 18th. Left guard Jared Hufford is 21st. And Iowa State utilizes an H-back fullback type in Jared Russ, but he only ranks 16th out of 21 run blocking tight ends. So it's a tough go this year for Iowa State on the offensive side of the ball. They lost crucial pieces at quarterback, running back, and tight end, and it shows. The offense fails to execute consistently on standard downs, even though the entire scheme is built around quick, simple concepts to ensure they stay on schedule. And an offense built on playmakers lost all of their playmakers besides Xavier Hutchinson. The Texas defense needs to keep performing at a high level. Texas is first in the Big 12 for defensive success rate, only allowing opposing offenses success on just 36% of plays. The run defense has been doing a good job limiting opposing running backs, and Iowa State is 117th in the nation for rushing yards per game. Texas currently ranks 31st in the nation for defensive line yards and 20th in power success rate. So we have been staunch in our run defense with a major advantage here on paper. The Texas pass rush has been getting the job done as well, consistently getting pressure and moving the pocket. The offensive line can struggle to protect, so it's important to make Deckers uncomfortable. The defensive backs have been doing their part, playing tighter coverage and forcing receivers to make contested catches. With this offensive style in particular, they need to stay disciplined and know the situation. Iowa State is trying to make short completions, so know that coming in, and be quick to make a tackle or knock the ball out. The Cyclones like to pass on 3rd and short as well when most teams would try to run. Keep an eye on the slot receiver and be ready for his option route of either a quick slant or an out. Very rarely will they take a shot, but don't get caught sleeping with all the underneath stuff. The numbers are currently very favorable across the board for the Iowa State offense versus the Texas defense. But don't get cocky. It's easy to write Iowa State off by just looking at their offense. The real strength of this team is on the other side of the ball. But before we hit the defense, you need to check out PrizePicks. PrizePicks is a US-based daily fantasy sports app where you can make college football player projections all season long. How does it work? You select 2 to 5 players and choose more or less on their projections. It could be passing yards, rushing yards, receiving yards, and more. And if those players score more or less than their PrizePicks projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on any entry. Just hop on the PrizePicks app or website, go to the college football tab, and check out the player projections. It's a smooth process where you can make your entries in 60 seconds or less with fast withdrawals. It's that easy. As a first-time depositor, use promo code TexasHomer, and you will receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. That's double your money up to $100 for your first time. So sign up for PrizePicks, use promo code TexasHomer at sign up, and add even more excitement to your game day. Link in the description. The Iowa State defense isn't built off raw talent and 5 stars. The Cyclones' ability to develop players over years in a consistent system is what allows for their success. That system is John Haycock's defensive scheme, and it's one of the most influential in football currently. You hear it called the 3 safety defense, the broken stack, or the 3-3-3. 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers, and 3 safeties. Haycock created it in direct response to stopping the Big 12's air raid philosophy of short passing concepts while being able to defend vertical shots with the help of an added safety sitting in the middle of the field. Though the scheme was designed to focus on stopping pass-happy offenses, they actually excel in stopping the run. On the 3-down line, you have nose guard Isaiah Lee. He's 10th out of 37 interior guys against the run. Then you have the defensive end in J.R. Singleton. He plays inside the tackle's shoulder and he's built more like a defensive tackle. He's ranked 27th out of 32 defensive ends. Both the ranks of the nose guard Lee and defensive end Singleton aren't impressive, but that's actually due to the scheme. Their job is to plug interior gaps and force the run outside, so they don't end up with concrete stats, which naturally drops their rankings. But the reality is they do what's asked of them, so the grades are misleading. The final edge player, called the Leo in the Cyclone system, is played by Will McDonald. He's a long, athletic edge that causes issues. And McDonald can also help stop the interior run by pushing the offensive tackle into the B gap. He's graded 13th in run stopping. This ability by all 3 linemen to plug the interior gap forces the ball to spill out to the edges. It slows the running back's vertical progress and gives the second and third level time to read the run and make the tackle. The run defense gives the illusion of a light box, but outside linebackers and safeties can be tied into the run fits, so don't be fooled. The second level has 2 top 3 run-stopping linebackers. Middle linebacker Orion Vance is the best run-stopping linebacker in the entire league. Strong side linebacker Colby Reeder is 3rd. They are tough, smart players that execute their assignments well. And the DBs also do their part in slowing opposing backs. Boundary corner TJ Tampa is 4th in the league against the run. Free safety Jeremiah Cooper is 7th. Middle safety Bo Freeler is 16th. Boundary safety Anthony Johnson Jr. is 22nd, and field corner Miles Purchase is 28th out of 65 run-stopping secondary players. That's all 5 starting DBs in the top half of the league in run defense. Due to the excellent coaching, schematics, and development, Iowa State is 8th in the nation for rushing yards allowed. In the pass game, Iowa State has some effective pass rushers. The highest graded is second-string edge MJ Anderson. Anderson is the second best performing edge in the entire Big 12. The Cyclones like to put him on the field on passing downs opposite Will McDonald. Will McDonald is currently graded as the 8th best pass rushing edge in the league. McDonald is having a down year compared to last, but don't be fooled, he's still an absolute problem. He is half a sack away from breaking the all-time sack record in the Big 12. Haycock will even put him at off-ball linebacker to force one-on-ones in the pass rush. In 6 games this season, McDonald has 11 total pressures, with 4 of those being sacks. Iowa State likes to utilize unique blitzes, so be aware of delayed linebackers and safeties rushing the passer from depth. They don't have any top performers on the second or third level in the pass rush, but the sheer numbers can still rattle quarterbacks and force quick throws. The relative weakness of the Iowa State defense is their pass coverage, but they're still performing at a top level. The Cyclones are 14th in the nation for passing yards allowed, only averaging 179 yards per game. Strong side linebacker Colby Reeder does a great job in coverage, ranking 4th in the league. And then you have weak side linebacker Gary Vaughn at 13th of 33 coverage linebackers. Boundary safety Anthony Johnson Jr. is the 7th ranked coverage defender in the secondary. Middle safety Bo Freeler is 12th. Boundary corner TJ Tampa is 39th. Field corner Miles Purchase is 56th. And free safety Jeremiah Cooper is 72nd out of 74 defensive backs. So 2 top half linebackers and 2 top half DBs against the pass. But it's really not about the individual players, as it's more about the design of the pass defense. The Cyclones utilize that 3 safety look so they can morph into any coverage post snap, and they make a concerted effort to disguise their intentions. They can go into cover 1, Tampa 2, match 3, or quarters, all from a single alignment, and it slows quarterbacks' processing speed. When you do complete the pass, you immediately have 3 DBs in the vicinity to make the play. There are some important keys for the Texas offense. The Iowa State alignment appears to invite the outside run, but Iowa State did this by design. Remember, their whole goal is to send the run to the exterior to run-stopping linebackers and defensive backs, so while you might be tempted, don't fall for it. Execute inside run schemes like split zone so you can block down on the defensive end and pick up the force player with your tight end. If you do run outside, make sure it's right off the tackle's hip to avoid running straight to the outside linebacker and corners. Misdirection can help against this aggressive defense. Put the backs in pistols so you don't tip your hand to which side you're going to run the ball. The Texas O-line struggles in run blocking, particularly with vertical displacement required on inside runs. But if you want to have rushing success against Iowa State, that's where you attack. If you can block up to the linebackers, then Bijan has to make one safety miss, and he can make any player miss one-on-one. The pass game will be tough with disguised coverages. Some RPOs are inherently limited with this scheme as the outside linebackers sit right in that window. Give Quinn clear reads pre-snap or go with package plays so he doesn't have to decipher coverages in real time. The defense triggers on the run fast. Use this against them with play action and bootlegs. The DBs play about 10 yards off, but they do drop back quickly when they diagnose the pass. You will have short throws like quick outs and comebacks available often. While this defense seems exotic, the reality is they play coverages we see every day. Old-fashioned blowing by them with Worthy is still on the table, as well as hitting Jordan Whittington late on a crosser. The Iowa State game is intriguing as a fan. Texas just came off a dominant win in Dallas, but it was against an awful Oklahoma team. On paper, Texas has a large advantage on Iowa State due to their sputtering offense. But the Iowa State defense is a different story because they are awesome on that side of the ball. Can Texas stay focused and handle business for the 3rd week in a row? We will find out Saturday when the Cyclones come to town. Thanks for hanging out. Watch some more of my videos here. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you want to support quality Texas content. As always, book 'em.